Hello to you there and welcome to yet another episode of Sport Views, a production of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago in collaboration with TTT Limited. I am your host Sachin Ramsubag and I'm pleased to introduce someone from the sister isle of Tobago, a director on the board of Sport TT, Mr. Marcus Daniel. Marcus, thanks for flying across to meet us today, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shad. I'm happy to be here.
Oh my, did you bring some sugar cake and Benny Ball for our brethren, man?
Yeah, as soon as we are finished, I'll hook you up.
Lovely. I like that very much. Yes, let's get down to the meat of the matter before we get involved in the dessert of the matter. Tell us a bit about how sport is. How is sport in Tobago? Because it's a pandemic. It's lack of tourism as well, lack of domestic tourism. How is sport in Tobago?
Well, I mean, in Tobago, we are just awaiting word from the government that we can go out and play without any one looking over our shoulder to charge for breaking the COVID-19 protocols. There are some persons who are playing, albeit at their own risk. I've seen where tennis. Some persons playing golf. I've actually taken an opportunity to play cricket as well. Those are the non-contact sport. But yeah, we are slowly but surely trying our very best to get back out playing sport. Not on the official level, but persons are actually participating, just readying themselves whenever officially the government will announce that we can go out and officially play sport.
It's interesting because sport has a large part to play in tourism as well. Yeah. And we spoke heavily about sport tourism and everything else as it pertains to the ecosystem in previous episodes. But sport in itself in Tobago, it's a big factor because you have people coming in to view sport, you have people coming in to go to the various places, and I know for a fact there's a development among the cricket grounds in Tobago.
Yes. Yeah, most definitely. And I often find that sport tourism, the term sport tourism, it's used loosely. We don't understand how impactful it can be for Tobago and the country on a whole. I can take you back to I think that was in 2019. No, 2020, we hosted the Pan American Dragon Boat Festival, and we had over 1,000 persons, not only participants, but they came with their friends and family to participate in the event. And coming out of that event, the then Chief Secretary, Mr. Kelvin Charles, he saw the need to have a sport tourism committee where the THA can actually look for sporting initiatives that can impact the tourism sector in Tobago. Before the Dragon Boat Festival, we held the international beach soccer. We hosted Barcelona, and I can tell you that at least 9 persons from Tobago are on that beach soccer or national beach soccer team, which was basically born out of that international event in Tobago. We hosted rugby sevens, and when it comes to rugby, it's basically a staycation for the rugby players. They buy beers, they cook food, and I mean indirect benefits. Persons in the handicraft sector, the car rentals, the guest houses, bed and breakfast. So many indirect benefits when it comes to sport tourism. So we are just awaiting the return to sport so that we can get back to that kind of that niche when it comes to sport.
Before we get involved in the real discussion, I really want you to give the viewers a picture of your background in sport. I know you're a huge sport fan in particular. You're a die-hard West Indian cricket fan as well.
Always.
You're a heartbroken individual these last few weeks and months.
Just like this morning.
Tell us a bit about your background.
Yeah. And I like how you say that I'm a sporting enthusiast and I like sport. And you didn't mention cricket. I like sport on a whole. I play cricket. But yeah, I started off at the primary school level. I played cricket and football. But I fell in love with cricket because of my role model, who is still my role model for today, Brian Lara. When he broke Gary Sober's record, that impacted me, and I wanted to be the next Brian Lara. I tried, but of course, you see where I am now, right?
You wanted to be the Prince of Bon Accord.
Yes, you could put it that way, right? And Brian Lara impacted me at the primary school level, and I took my passion for cricket further. I actually played cricket in England for I think it was 9 months. I played with a team called Gallywood CC in the Essex League, where that also impacted my career, opened a lot of doors because I rubbed shoulders with Ravi Bopora and some of those English players. I've attended several trial matches here in Trinidad. I really tried to get my cricket further than just playing in Tobago and playing for 1 and 2 clubs here in Trinidad. I played with Central Sports, but I'm happy with the direction that I would have taken in terms of cricket, because I am now the PRO slash manager slash coach slash captain of my club, Tobago Sports Club, and we have had several achievements under my leadership. We host a night Wimbledon Cricket League in its 8th year, very impactful to the community, and we are all about unearthing new talent, not only for the Tobago Sports Club, but for cricket on a whole in Tobago. I'm a sport development officer in Tobago with the Division of Education, and of course director on the sport company of Trinidad and Tobago.
And tell us about that journey of being a director on the board, the sport company.
I must admit that when I first started, I was a bit taken aback. Rubbing shoulders with the likes of Mr. Douglas Camacho, Ms. Marilyn Gordon, Mr. Jeffrey Glenn. I mean, people that I've seen in the news, I've heard about, and their impact on Trinidad and Tobago. And I was taken aback by the magnitude of our sporting infrastructure, with the stuff behind the scenes that we don't see. Many a times you'll hear clubs, athletes, citizens complaining about the government and the Ministry of Sport not doing anything for sport in Tobago. And I was like that, an armchair critic, until I got to see the real picture and what we really need to do to advance sport in Trinidad and Tobago. And I mean, that's rubbing shoulders with those persons and seeing exactly what is required to take sport forward. I have a greater appreciation for what they have been doing. I can tell you that it's not pretty. Sometimes we are in meetings for 7 to 8 hours, and you want to be a part of the discussion. So you have to read documents that they send beforehand, and I can tell you my life is not the same anymore, and I'm thankful for the opportunity.
One of the major stadiums in Tobago is the Dwight Stadium, and previously the entire management and the oversight of that facility was based in Trinidad. Now it's under a Tobagonian management. How was that deferred?
Well, before it was changed to Tobago's control, we had a situation where Tobagonians were complaining, and they were blaming the Tobago House of Assembly for allowing the facility to be run down, if you want to put it that way, lack of maintenance, and to be closed for a lengthy period. And the blame was wrongly placed, because it was under the control of the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs at that time. And millions were spent to get it to where it is today, where it's now almost fully refurbished. What I would like to see from the THA now is that they adopt the model that the sport company has adopted for the other stadia in Trinidad, because they want a blanket maintenance plan. They don't want a maintenance plan solely for this stadium, and then another plan for the next stadium. I can tell you that the chairman of the facilities committee on the sport company, Mr. Hayden Mitchell, he's very, very passionate about having a maintenance plan, a strong maintenance plan that all the stadia throughout the country can follow. We don't want a situation where millions will have to be spent again for one particular stadium, and millions will spent for the Right Stadium. So I'm hoping going forward now, because when it comes to the Tobago House of Assembly, we only receive 6.5 or between 6.5 to 6.8% of the national purse, and that has to be divided among 12 divisions, and normally sports will normally get the least amount, and you don't want most of the funds for sport to be going towards maintaining a facility, because there isn't a facility plan. From the sport company end, we are now putting things in, well, not now, but we are strengthening the structure in terms of bringing in experts, facility managers, persons who have an understanding and the experience of running a facility, to ensure that routine checks and stuff can be done, so that in the long run we don't have to close the facility and have to spend millions in refurbishing it.
There are some concerns in the public domain that Tobago gets more than they should, and I put that in inverted commas, more than they should. Do you care to respond to that?
When you say more, in terms of the budget? In
terms of the budget, and then it trickles down to, of course, sport in total, and we spoke about maintenance of this facility and everything else as it pertains to sport.
I think if anyone who understands the relationship between Trinidad and Tobago and the government of Trinidad and Tobago, they will know that that's not a fair statement to make, right? It's something that I try not to discuss, because I don't think discussing it, for me discussing it, people will still understand unless you are involved, right? We are separated by waters, right? We have an executive arm in Tobago called the Tobago House of Assembly, adopted by the government of Trinidad and Tobago. So it's a requirement, right? Currently, there's a situation where before the Parliament there is the Tobago Self-Government Bill, which will probably afford Tobago more autonomy, not separation, which I am not calling for. I love the harmonious relationship that we have. I've met you through cricket,
oh, yes.
Me coming from Tobago, coming to Trinidad, and I like that relationship. And I think if it is that we are separated, I don't think we may have that unity and that strength anymore. We can have certainly more from the government because, as I said before, we have 12 divisions, and when it comes to a good standard of living and to ensure that all the divisions, whether it's community development, whether it's agriculture, whether it's the division of finance, education and sport, we have adequate amount of funds so that we can fund the development of sport in the country. I'm strong on development of sport because I believe when you have sport in the communities and you have persons participating in sport, you have stronger communities, and you know when you have stronger communities, what happens? You have a stronger country.
Let's look at these sporting developments in Tobago as it differs from Trinidad. How does this impact the athletes? Because you mentioned earlier about funding, not being able to access the amount of funding that you should have been able to access. How does this differ from Trinidad?
You know, in Trinidad, we have the NGBs. Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board, Basketball Federation, and in Tobago we have associations, right? So basically affiliates. So you have the associations, they report to the NGBs. And many times you will have the associations for funding, they will go to the THA, and then the THA will ask that they go through the NGBs. And the NGBs obviously, they will look at Tobago and maybe saying that, well, Tobago you have 10 athletes, in Trinidad we have 100. So we have to balance the scale in terms of the funding, right? In Tobago, what I like and what I've seen is that in the communities, you have an athlete that is looking that person can go further. You will have cookouts, you'll have barbecue, you'll have fundraisers, trying their very best to raise funds for that particular athlete. What we don't have is a situation where the private sector, they buy into sport in Tobago. So most of the support has to come from the Tobago House of Assembly. Whereas in Trinidad, the NGBs probably will be sponsored by Nestle or Coca-Cola in Trinidad or some other private sector institution in Trinidad. We don't have that strength in Tobago. So we are predominantly dependent on the THA or a community to raise funds. And also that's where the difference is. And you will have more Trinidad athletes getting that access, probably to buy a spike, to buy some cricket equipment, to travel to a meet. In Tobago, we have to travel to Trinidad to be seen more often than not, because obviously national teams are based there, the NGBs are based there, and you have a team or you have players that want to get onto the national team, and you have to travel to Trinidad, and they can't do it in Tobago. So there are so many variables that hamper the progress of our athletes. But I can tell you that that's another a hindrance for our athletes. I think that actually motivates them, that they know they have to work harder to get onto a national team or to excel in their sport of choice.
If you just joined us, you are viewing Sport Views, a production of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago in collaboration with TTT Limited, and we are chatting with Mr. Marcus Daniel, and we continue our conversations.
Currently, we don't have one indoor sporting facility. I can say that one is currently being constructed, and I'm hoping that in 2022 that is delivered. It gives a sense of predictability in terms of scheduling. Basketball, netball, any sporting discipline that plays indoors, right? We don't have that in Tobago compared to Trinidad. When it comes to training and being managed, in Tobago, well, let me use track and field for example. We have like 8 clubs, right? And we have persons who are coaching the clubs that probably their certification is basically level 1. In Trinidad, you have elite athlete coaches, you have more advanced coaches, persons who are probably well traveled and has a better understanding of the development of an athlete from age 5 coming right up. In Tobago, what we have is persons who are enthusiastic about the sport, persons probably who would have participated in a particular discipline and are now coming back home and trying to give back to their community. Some would have started clubs, and I want to give kudos right now to Simone Hackett. She has returned home recently, and she started an academy and also doing charitable stuff for Tobago. So she's back there, but she's certified, maybe or may not. But her impact in terms of her being out there and has an understanding can pull people. So in terms of the difference, in Trinidad you have those who are more certified, more experienced. In Tobago you have those who are very enthusiastic. And a good friend once told me that enthusiasm is not expertise. So you can be enthusiastic, but you really don't have the expertise to really take an athlete to the next level. And that's what we have in Tobago. A lot of athletes that have been taken from the age 5 come up to the teenage level, but there isn't someone in Tobago or persons or enough persons in Tobago to take them further, because we don't have that elite support in Tobago. And I'm hoping that in the not too distant future that we through the sport company can have some form of satellite program where our athletes in Tobago are exposed to that elite athlete program as well. An elite athlete gym, we really need that gym as well. I know that the Dwight Stadium, once it's fully refurbished, they will have that gym for the athletes. Currently they have to go to the private gyms, right? Especially if you want to keep in shape for when you have competition. So in terms of being trained, in Trinidad you have the athletes here, they have the nutritionists, they have therapy, they have so many different things. And I can tell you a story when I used to come to Trinidad for trials. Many times when our age group teams come to Trinidad and we stay at the cricket center, that's right across the road right there. Every time I come here, I see Adrian Barrett or someone there training, and then they take a break and they study. In Tobago, we don't have one indoor cricket facility, and it's not just to bring down the Tobago Cricket Association or bring down the THA. But like I said before, when it comes to funding, most of the funding has to go to other things instead of development. We have been clamoring for it for a while, the cricketing fraternity, because we have produced. Recently, we had Joshua James. Joshua James would have played for the Jamaican Tala Wars in the CPL. Before that, he would have been the first Tobagonian to play for the West Indies on a 19 team, and he just recently from the UK as well. And we have more young players coming through from cricket, albeit without an indoor sporting facility. And I'm saying if we have all those in Tobago, trust me, the country will be stronger, because when it comes to Tobago, we use all natural talent. In Trinidad, natural talent with some form of guidance from the experts.
We spoke about the advantages that Trinidad has over Tobago. Yeah. Now, what about the advantages that Tobago has over Trinidad? And how can this sport company now harness these advantages to make everything better?
Yeah, and I spoke about the community aspect. In Tobago, we're very strong on community. And in terms of raising funds, the community will support each club within the community or an athlete, right? In Tobago, what I can say, the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs would have actually partnered with UTT, and they would have offered scholarships for persons to go and get a degree in sport management. And I'm happy to say that a number of Tobagonians who would have actually been part of the national setup in terms of their different disciplines, they would have actually taken advantage of that opportunity, and they are now sport development officers, they are now sport officers, and they are now working within the Division of Education, Youth Affairs and Sport. No, Division of Innovation and Energy. I'm not too sure what happens in Trinidad, but in Tobago, I can say I myself, I'm a sport officer, and I work with the primary schools. What we do, we develop programs and we execute events. We teach the students from as early as 5, sometimes as 4, even nursery school we go to, and we try our very best to get them to like sport, teach them to run, teach them to roll, hand-eye coordination, all these different things. That's our job as sport officers. So we do that in Tobago within the schools, just to get them to do something outside of academics only. participate in sports, marry the two. Right? We have the development officers who work within the communities. Right? So in terms of the difference, I can say that in Tobago we are very strong with the schools, very strong in the communities. Persons come out and assist and support by way of fundraisers. I'm not too sure what happens in Trinidad, but as I said before, in Trinidad, the ministries they have more access to facilities, and then of course you have the private sector will be more inclined to buy in.
We have many new things, or many great things we can look forward to in 2022 and beyond, especially from a Caribbean perspective and how it will affect Trinidad and the Tobago as well. One of them being the ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup. And being a big cricket fan yourself, I'm sure you've been very, very happy with that happening. And of course, Trinidad getting a major part of the entire tournament.
I'm delighted. I've actually booked my flights already. I have to look for accommodation now. I know that we have 12 games. We have 12 games here. I'm hoping that we have good weather and we pull off a really good tournament without the situation with COVID-19. So I'm really looking forward to that. As a Tobagonian, I'm disappointed that we don't have the facility at this time to host such an event, or to at least have a leg of it. I can take you back to the 2001 Under-17 Football World Cup. Where we hosted Nigeria and some other teams across there, and they were so impressed that they wanted to come back and vacation in Tobago because of our hospitality, But all in all, the country is Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm happy that we would have had a big part to play in the hosting of the Under-19 World Cup.
One of the facilities in Tobago, you mentioned to me off air, is going under some serious renovations and some serious upgrades as well. Do you see that venue in particular being one of these venues in the very near future if we were to be given something else?
That's the call on recreation going in Blackrock, and as we speak, I know that the lights they have actually turned on the lights 2 days ago. The oil field is lush. What they are now working on is the pitch. I think it has the requirement to host first-class matches, and we have identified it. That's the Tobago Cricket Association. We have identified it as a possible venue to host first-class matches, because first-class matches in Tobago impacted the community. Because I'm sure that you have been to matches in Tobago and you saw the passion from Tobagonians when we host matches. Whether it be 4-day, T20, 50 overs, Tobagonians go out and support the team and support cricket, because we are starved for that level of cricket in Tobago. We hosted Bangladesh, we had Sri Lanka here, we hosted Australia, we hosted all these international teams. Yearly we normally have English teams coming in, and it's been a while. And I'm hoping going forward, we can have those kinds of situations return to Tobago, because we have the facilities, or we have recreational grounds throughout the island in different communities, and they are well lit, and we're hoping that going forward we can return to our glory days where we hosted Masters football, the rugby sevens, the beach soccer, the Pan American Dragon Boat Festival, and much more can come on stream.
As a director on the Sportt company of Trinidad and Tobago, do you think you can play an influential role in bringing back these sports to the island? This is style of Tobago, and not just bringing it back, but of course upgrading these various facilities once given the chance.
I think what it requires of me, because our job is basically ensuring that our policy and ensuring that funding is given to the NGBs, and that support, that financial support, and as well as using our influence to ensure that the relationship, because we have the Ministry of Sport and Community Development, that's our line ministry, and then we have the Division of Sport and Youth Affairs in Tobago, and basically I report to the division there and the secretary there, and I am hoping that my influence here with our chairman and the board, that we can have that communication and that symbiotic communication with the division there to help roll out some of the plans that we will want to see in Trinidad. and we want to see it in Tobago as well, because in Tobago, the Tobago House of Assembly is responsible for sport, or the direction of sport in Tobago. But I like structure. I want, when you come to Trinidad and Tobago, you must see the same thing going forward, not Trinidad doing its own thing and then Tobago doing its own thing. So I'm hoping that with my influence on the sport company, I've already done it many times in terms of linking with the different sporting entities. They may come and say, Marcus, we have a situation here. We want you to Dwight Stadium, but we're having some troubles there. Can you contact the manager there? We have a discussion, and then things go forward. So I'm hoping that I can continue doing that through the division of Sport and Youth Affairs, and obviously with the blessing of the sport company of Trinidad and Tobago.
Looking forward into 2022, what can be the development, or what do you see can be the development for sport, for the sporting industry, and in this style?
You know, I am hoping that with this down period, that the associations, even athletes, would have used the down period to strengthen the organizations, whether it be to host elections, to fine tune, you know, their faults, because they're not perfect, right? And obviously, when we were open up, we were busy scheduling events and participating, and you didn't have the time to really probably host an election, an AGM, or to have an understanding of the members under your organization. And I'm hoping that they would have used the down period to really strengthen their association, to come up with plans and initiatives. So as soon as we say, hey, we're going back out to sport, that they can roll out smoothly. And also I'm hoping that going forward, I'm hoping that in the down period, that would have been done. I know the division of Sport and Youth Affairs would have held several workshops, and they would have asked each sporting entity to come and be registered with the division of sport. Being a registered association or a registered member, it gives you so many benefits. You can go into when you come with your proposal, they know that you are registered. They can give you guidance as to hosting meetings and to host AGMs and how to do a proposal and all these different things. So I'm hoping that with the down period, that was done by the clubs and the associations.
We have viewers not just from Trinidad and Tobago, but viewers from across the world.
Yeah.
What would you say to these viewers from outside of our shores in Trinidad and Tobago? How can they come to Tobago and participate in sport when things do return back to normal?
Well, I mean, that's easy. There's a fast ferry. We have multiple. we have multiple, and we have the airline. And you know, we are always open to visitors. The associations, the clubs like my club. We train at the Kinambonaccord Recreation Ground, and it's an open field. It's not fenced, and most times when we are training there, persons will come in and they'll say, well, I came from Trinidad, or I'm from Barbados or Jamaica, and you know, I'm here now working, and I'm looking for a club to participate to be a member of. And I say, yeah, we always welcome people. In Tobago, as I said before, we are hospitable people, right? And we're always looking for new talent, and we're always looking for ways to advance the sport in Tobago. When you have a strong sporting community, or you have strong sporting communities, you have a strong country. People are the young guys on the block, they are distracted because they want to advance themselves in a particular career. And I want to see the return of Village Olympics, inter-village rivalry in terms of sport, you know. So these are the things I look forward to, and yeah, we are open, and we are always looking for visitors. We spoke strongly about sport tourism. It's not just about sport. We have sun, sea, and sand as well, and you can come and enjoy a nice crab and dumpling. You know, we have doubles, but not like Trinidad. Like Trinidad, you can get corn soup as well. You know, and yeah, we have a number of things that you can come and participate in. If you want, you can do a reef tour. You can go to the rainforest, and all that's recreation. You know, not as hot as Trinidad as I'm feeling now. You know, except when you go to Shore Park. Yeah.
Listen, man, Shore Park it's a different breed of heat over there.
Trust me, it's not easy at all. When I go to play cricket there, I try my very best to win the toss and to bat first.
And that has nothing to do with your physical fitness.
Not at all.
That's everything to do with the heat.
With the heat in Tobago and in Shore Park, which is actually right next to our beach.
Yes. Marcus, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Yes,
it was indeed a pleasure chatting. I wanted to have this interview for a very long time, and I finally got the opportunity. And wonderful. wonderful to have you, and good luck to you and Sport Company, Sport TT, and of course to everybody across in Tobago. Good luck to you all. You all are fantastic people, and continue to try to build your excellent reputation.
Yes, and I thank you, and I want to thank TTT as well for taking up this opportunity and trying to promote sport. For too long we have been ignorant of sport in Trinidad and Tobago, and I know the Sport Company, we have a mandate to really educate the country about sport, so that when we have world events like Olympics and World Championship and whatever it is, that it will not going to just be on your chair or sofa criticizing the athletes and the teams, so you have a better understanding. So thank you guys so much for having me, and I'm hoping that in the not too distant future we can start back playing sport.
Thank you very much, my brother, and safe journey back to the Sister Isle later on this evening.
Thank you so much.
You are viewing Sport Views right here, a production of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago in collaboration with TTT Limited, and we were chatting with Director on the Sport TT board, Mr. Marcus Daniel from Tobago, the Sister Isle. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.